some people are in hospital a long time, and care and treatment reviews were started after Winterbourne View in 2011, when there was a panorama program and an undercover reporter went into a residential home and found that people were placed there from all over the country and they were being abused. And after that, the Transforming Care program was started, which is the one I'm working on. And we needed to know who people were that were placed in either in hospitals or in residential homes, and who was reviewing them, etc. So what happened was, after that, sometimes people being reviewed and the psychiatrist and the team looking after them were saying, no, they need to stay in hospital. They have loads of incidents and they're not safe to be looked after in the community. They need to stay in hospital. So we needed some challenge to that. So care and treatment reviews were started in 2015, and the purpose of that was that it was an independent clinical reviewer and an independent person that didn't know the patient but had experience of either being in hospital themselves, so either somebody with autism themselves or somebody with a learning disability, or somebody who has experience of looking after a loved one with either a learning disability or autism. And they don't have to be have been hospitalized, because if your loved one is in the community, perhaps you've developed strategies, or perhaps you've developed resilience, perhaps you've developed knowledge in positive behavior support and sensory assessments, and the things that help keep your loved one safe in the community, the sort of care they need that could be helpful for others to learn by. And so we recruited experts by experience, so family members or else people who've been in hospital themselves, to go and challenge and support those who want to stay in the community and those that are in hospital. So there's two types of care and treatment review. And actually, for children and young people, which is what I'm talking to you, all four of you about, is because you're involved. Actually, no, Mohammed, your child is 21 or 22, I think, wasn't it? You've got a younger one and an older one.
Yeah, no. My older one is 15, and my younger one is 8.
Yes.
Yeah, but also, which is some of those are now Russia, maybe only know a little bit about it. I have like my mom, she's over 70, 75.
Yes.
She's got like carer need, and she got like hospital and carer, hospital transport at home. So I got other things there, which is my mom also under sort of my care, and I'm organizing those similar sound of it. So
but
recently recently just started for last couple of months about my mom. So she was hospital for 2 weeks, and since they're sending her home, so they have to give her all the packages, care, hospital, all. That's what it is, like, sound like a very similar stuff.
Yes. You've got, you've got a lot on your plate. But this is for people who've got a learning disability and or autism with usually challenging behavior. That's why they go into hospital, unless they've got mental health need that they go in to be treated for. So what I'm looking for is people who've got experience of looking after their children at home, and they may be at risk of admission to hospital, and to be able to go and do a community care, education and treatment review is what we call it for children. And the skills needed for that, I can send an email out after this with the key things that you'd need to read. But it's what it is to look and see. It's about person-centered and family-centered care. It's about rights-based. It's about empowering people to be able to look after their loved ones and to know what support to ask for. And you've all had additional training and you know what works, and you've had to deal with challenges. And we want people that have had to deal with challenges and maybe still are. And the sort of skills work. So the role is to work alongside the clinicians. So you'd meet those that are looking after the person, because there's a risk registers where the children and young people who need additional support, their families are asked, can we put your child on a list where you get additional support if you need to. So some people are RAG rated green because everything's fine. Sometimes in teenage years, school holidays, whatever the trigger is, sometimes people have more challenges and it's amber. And you would need to say, do you know, I need more support. I'm worried. Sometimes parents are being assaulted by their children, or the children are causing a lot of environmental damage, or they're at risk of being excluded from school. You need to ask for more help, or others will say this person's at risk of admission. And therefore you have, and it should be instigated that a care, education and treatment review is called. So those that are responsible for looking after the person, family, the person themselves and those around them, with the clinical expert and what I'm hoping to be yourselves, the experts by experience, come together and they look at the viewpoints from your own experience, what you can bring to that situation, what you could suggest might be helpful from your experience of learning disability, autism, challenging behavior, what you think could be put in place to help that child or young person stay within the family, if within the family is safe, or if not, what else could be suggested. It may be respite for a while. It may be housing repairs. It may be that this home is very, very small and this is contributing, the environment's contributing. Is there any funding that could be accessed to improve the environment so that this child's behavior may settle? Do they need sensory assessment? What have you found is helpful? So it's about talking to the parents, talking to the person, looking at the environment, looking at asking yourselves and not taking what you're told always to be accurate, but asking what support do you have at the moment? What care do you have? And thinking where the gaps are and what might help. So it's all day. You get introduced, you get a pen picture, hopefully, of the person and what's happening. Time alone is very important to speak to the child and family, but don't be on your own. Have somebody with you like the clinical expert, and that's because of to protect yourself from allegations, because we don't just to protect yourself from that. So what we want is you to be able to feedback at the end of the session and throughout the day your recommendations of what would help with this, to help keep this person within the community. Is it possible? Sometimes people don't know what can be possible, what you could do to help a child. They could see escalating behaviors and think first of hospital. That's not always helpful for a young person. It may be that actually in anticipation of school holidays, for example, what activities are available, or if a parent's ill, what else can be offered to support the parent. And to be creative, even if you're not sure this is possible, suggest what you think would help and to see if it can be created. So you'd bring your personal experiences to this situation of being a person with a learning disability or autism, or somebody who's cared for somebody who has those challenges. And you'd bring with you an understanding and a commitment to try and help, and confidentiality. You'd understand about person-centered approaches, and you'd understand about what good support looks like in the community. And my main thing is that you have a good understanding of positive behavior support and how helpful it can be. To be able to communicate to the family, be able to contribute to the report, just look at it when the chair will be the person who'd pay for the care. So it might be that if you live in Newham, it would be that I would suggest that you don't do the CETRs in Newham because you might know the other parents and that would be a conflict of interest. It might be that you know the provider. It may be that it's awkward for parents if they already know you. So it's best to do it in another borough and say, if you tell me where you live, so we'd give you another borough where you don't have connections. That would be helpful to keep things confidential. To be able to travel to reviews, you can claim travel and it's £160 for the day that we would pay you. If that's difficult for you and you don't want to be paid, also let me know if you can't accept the money. And we had talked about paying East London Send. We'd also talked about time credits. We would ask you to send to me, if you don't have a CV, just type on A4 what your skills are and what your connection is to somebody with a learning disability or autism, what you can bring, because we're looking for people who have lived experience. So if you don't have a CV, just write down about yourself and how you'd be able to help, what your skills are, any additional training you've had, and I know you have, that would be really helpful. We want someone who's reliable, punctual, you can turn up on time, usually about 10 till 4, and then the chair will email you, password protected, the report to say, this is what we agreed today, do you agree with it, or is there anything I've forgotten? So what do you think? Have you got any questions for me?
What I'll do, Finola, just so that we're not all talking on top of each other by accident, if we can put a hand up if we have a question, and then I'll say, Russia, you speak, or Anna, and then we'll just kind of like flowing like that. So
lovely.
Who has a question? If there is a question, put your hand up if you do. Mohammed has a question. Okay, we're going to go to Mohammed, and then after Mohammed, we'll go to Russia. Okay, right, bear with.
Yes, my question is it going to be only inner London, or what's the destination we have to travel for?
Good question. It is for London patients that I'm asking you to be recruited to. Our pool of people for experts by experience. Yes, it's for London, but some of our London patients might be outside London. So for example, they might be as far away as Norfolk. You don't have to go. So what happens is we send out a doodle poll, have I said that right? Poll.
Yes,
and
doodle poll, yeah.
Yep. I know I call it the wrong name sometimes. And so what happens is my colleague, Elizabeth Flanders, she sends out an email saying, we need somebody for a care and treatment review on this day. And then people that can do it fill in the doodle poll to say, yes, they can do it, or they just email straight back, say, yes, we can do it. So you can choose which ones you go to and the vicinity. Some are half day, by the way, as well. So in half day, it would be half pay.
Awesome. Mohammed, does that answer your question?
Yes, it's in London only, yeah? Inside the London?
London,
mostly
but maybe
it's London.
outside.
London, okay.
Okay,
Yes.
Russia, over to you.
Yeah. Well, basically, while you were answering Mohammed's question, I just came up with a question, not the original question. So
you have two questions.
So I have two questions now. So you said about half day. So if it's a whole day, from what hour to like how many hours? And if it's half day, how many hours?
Usually 4 hours, Rata.
Okay, 4 hours. Is that for half day?
Yeah, usually they'd start at 10 and finish at 1 roughly, or they'd start at 1 and finish at 4:35, that sort of thing. But it may be because the family can't meet all day. Sometimes you can't meet in the family's home because it's very it's not conducive, because a young person might be very upset seeing lots of strange faces in their own environment. So you might meet in somewhere else down the road, but it's really important to be able to see the young person as well. So it may be another trip back to go and view the young person in their own environment.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great. And you were saying we will always go with someone, like we will always go with a professional. But
Yes.
will we get training, and how long is the training? Like,
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. I should have said it, and I'm sorry I didn't. Yes, we've got one whole day training organised for the 19th of March.
Okay, 19th of March. Okay.
And that will be in London, and it'll be all day, and I think it'll be very helpful.
Yeah, definitely.
Finola, can I just jump in and ask the specific times for the 19th?
Yes. Let me look up for my colleague. Hang on, I'm going to shout. I know that's really rude, but I'm going to shout for a minute. Oh, I'll put you on mute and I'll ask my colleague. Hold on.
Yeah.
Sorry, my colleague is, she's left her desk. It'll be something like 10 till 4.
Okay.
Or 9:30 till 4:30, something like that. I tell you why it is that. It's because the rooms are really expensive for us to pay for in London.
Mm-hmm.
And a half-day room costs the same as a whole-day room. And so what we were trying to do is fit in as much as we could on the day, aware that that's very difficult sometimes for people who've got childcare responsibility, but we didn't have the money to do it on 4 separate days, because we've got another training on the 21st of March, and that's for experts by experience who have done it before. But I think we'd be flexible, and if somebody really hadn't got any childcare on the 19th, that they could come on the 21st. But it's not ideal because the program's slightly different, obviously.
Yeah.
Because on the 21st, it's for people who've been doing it for a year or two.
Okay.
Refresher.
Anna, do you have a question?
Hi everybody. Hi Fiona. I'm sorry, I came late, so I don't know if what I missed really. But I have been listening to you, all of you, and it's quite interesting program. I really would like to do it. It's good that there is half a day to do it, because I will not be able to do the whole day because of I care for my son. I'm the only one. So if that day that there is a training half a day, and I think I don't know, do we need to book for a place with how long before, or we just show up, or how can we book it?
For the training, Anna, you mean?
Yes, for the 19th, because now I don't know if I will be able to attend. I need to make sure that if I go to that training, someone is not going to be in the house to wait for my son coming from school.
Of course.
So that is the only reason I'm asking. It's good that it's in London. It's fun, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So for how long can we book a place? I mean, 3 days in advance, 1 day, a week, or?
In advance, because I'm organising it. So what you mean is, like, you wonder if you have to wait to see if you can get somebody to help you with the childcare.
Yeah.
And so what I do is I'd put first of all, I need your CV or you to type to me what your skills are, because we need that on file. We can't, because if somebody comes back to us and say, who was Anna that you sent to us yesterday? And I don't know. I've met you, I know from our conversations, but if I have something written, then I can refer to. If I'm not here, one of my colleagues can. These are Anna's skills. This is why Anna is an expert by experience. So we need something written down as to your skills, any training you've had. If you've had a DBS check, that's really helpful as well. And I can put your name down and then talk to me nearer the time if you're having difficulty with regard to getting childcare. I don't know. I'm thinking, is it possible to do half a day on the first one and half a day on second? I'm not sure it'll be exactly the same, but we can be flexible and try and think of something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's something that I will think, about that, if I can do it. Yeah. But yeah, we'll think about that, and then I understand that we need to send the CV and.
Yeah, if you could send it as quick as you can as well, just type it up for me. I tell you why, because we're ending the recruitment soon.
Okay.
And the other thing is sometimes we get asked from other regions. So there's 4 regions of NHS England. So we are London, but there's also the south of England, and there's 2 in the north of it. There's the north of England, and there's Midlands and East. So that's Essex, Cambridgeshire, Norfolk. And sometimes they ask, have you got anybody to do an expert by experience role because we've got a patient in London? So that can happen as well.
Okay. When is the last time or the last day to send the CV? Can you remember?
I needed it this week. Sorry, Anna.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Because my colleagues wanted to end the recruitment, but I am very keen to get yourselves on board because you've had really, really helpful training, and you've got experience of being able to keep your children with you.
Yeah.
And we don't. And we want more people like that who've had successful stories of what you've managed.
Yeah, I see.
Can I just jump in and say that I don't see it as an obstacle for getting the letter or the CV to you by the end of the week, because everybody has my full support with it. And it is just a matter of sitting down and getting it written out. So for anybody that needs any support with that, I've become fairly fast at typing actually these days. So, due to necessity. So I would just like to reassure Rasha, Anna and Mohammed that I'm there for them with that. So yeah, that's
great.
Me.
Because you have already your, not pen pictures, what do you call it? You have something.
One-page profile.
Yes. What are they like? Would that be, I haven't seen that, but I can tell you if that would be sufficient if I saw one.
Finola, I can send over, I mean, if I have the permission of Mohammed, Anna and Rasha, I could send over each of the profiles in PDF or something.
Yeah.
As soon as I...
Yeah.
Do you want me to send it right now? I mean, I can send you mine.
Why not, whilst we're on the line?
Yeah.
And I'm just going to ask my colleague Ash, what time does the training start on the 19th, Ash? For E by E? 9:30. 9:30 till 4:30. And where is it, Ash?
I think it's Mary. I need to double check because I'm doing 3.
Okay, the postcode of roughly where it is. Ash is going to come back and tell me. So 9:30 till 4:30.
Okay.
It's always going to be tricky with the times, isn't it, guys? But
yeah, I only I can only make it if my husband is at home. Sorry, because my son is here by 4. So if the training finishes 4:30, I'm going to be in central London, and then I need time to come back. So that's why it's always tricky, when we don't have anyone to, when we are the only one taking care of the family. But I will see. I need to find out if he is available that day, so I cannot give an answer right now. Sorry.
That's okay.
I found out that the venue is in Elephant and Castle, etc. venues. So the nearest tube would be Elephant and Castle.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
How many people are you recruiting, and how often do we get called out? Like how busy is it? Like
There's 60 a month,
oh, okay.
and we've got 10 new people that we've recruited so far,
Mhm.
and we've booked a venue that holds 24 people.
Oh,
And so we've got about 16 E by E's that are regular, and they might get 3 a week. They might get, it depends, some people don't want 3 a week. So we've got people that do 3 a week, and we've got people that do 1 every, I don't know, 2 or 3 months.
okay.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, depends.
Yeah, sounds excellent. Yeah, sounds quite busy as well.
Yes, it is busy, and it's got busier.
Yeah.
The other thing is that some of the CETRs are in hospital.
Yeah.
So they're it's called Tier 4. So they're in Good Mays often, and other places as well. So, but most are accessible by public transport. Most of the children, occasionally children are placed further away, but again, you'd look at the address and you'd see whether that's possible for you or not. You can claim transport, and you can claim the hotel overnight if that's what's required to get there. Because some places you can't get to by 9:30 in the morning because it's not on public transport direct route.
Yep. Alright.
Guys, can I just jump in and can I get your permission to send your one-page profiles to? Can you just put your hand up if you give me permission to? Awesome. Okay. Right. That's it. Please continue while I do this. Won't be a tick, Finola.
Thank you.
So for us, the one-page profiles, you know, the reason that we instigated them was exactly for this reason.
Oh, good idea.
It's exactly because this doesn't talk about our achievements from an academic sense, or you know what we've kind of
no
gone to the moon or something.
Yeah.
This is about our real life experience and why we do things, and what's important to us, and how we want to be supported in order to do what we want to do more, basically.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great.
So you should have them in your inbox. Me, Anna, Rasha, and Mohammed. Any second now.
Okay.
But sorry, I think that this is in the meantime she's waiting for the CV, because the profile is something, you know, it doesn't say. It's like to know each other a little bit more in a familiar way, but it doesn't say what we, for example, the courses that we have done, or
That's
what
right.
we, you know, so it's just to know us a little bit more friendly, a friendly approach. But
Yeah, and to just to kind of echo what Anna's saying, Finola.
Yes.
If you were to look at Mohammed, Anna, and Rasha's kind of practice experience, the training that we've undertaken in the last 3 years, you know, it's as long as your arm, literally. It really
wow.
is. It's that big.
Wow.
It is. It's amazing. So, you know, you'd be really fascinated by how we've done handwriting to support our disabled children. So we've trained in that. We've trained in pediatric first aid. We've obviously
How
done
wonderful.
the EPATs and the PBS. Russia did the first day of the PBS, I believe, but not the following 3 days. It's phenomenal,
Russia.
basically.
I'm looking at Russia's now.
Yeah, the lovely Russia.
Please, a big page. I love it. If you've got a picture of yourself as well. Please do the problems or whatever. What's important to continue completing my research.
I look a bit different now. Put on.
Finola, can I also just say, where it said for Russia, it's important to me to meet more academics who understand about learning disabled people to support my research. Russia now has contact with 2 or 3 academics at the Tizard Centre, and it's because of that one-page profile that we knew where to really work together. So Mohammed and Anna are facilitating the EPATs. Russia was thinking about facilitating and applying for that, but based on that one-page profile, we've now really moved towards the direction that Russia's really focused on. So it's playing a real practical purpose within the network activity.
This is lovely. I think it's a really lovely introduction. What's helpful though, it doesn't have your so I can see for Anna, for example, it says about learning about autistic spectrum conditions, etc. What I need is your experience. I think that's what it doesn't have in them. Your experience, your personal experiences, and the skills you're bringing. I'm looking at Mohammed's now. So I can see able to share my experience to support other people, but doesn't say what your experience is.
So if
that's
we
what
were
I need.
Yeah, totally. And that's really easy to get, because also the 3 of us, and there are going to be other people such as Elise and a few other parents. So not everybody who's on this call wants to apply. But a lot of us have gone through the application for the EPAT. So we do have some, it's just adaptable really. We have cover letters all ready in our files, I think.
Yes, that would be really helpful. Anything you can do in addition, be great, please.
Okay, so the next step is to create either a CV or a cover letter expanding on our experience, the training that we've done, and also the personal lived experience of caring for a child with a learning disability.
Or whatever it is that your experience is, because sometimes people ask for somebody who's experienced in children who have maybe high functioning autism with challenging behaviour or whatever it is, and we'll try and look for that. So whatever it is you have experience-wise, it's so helpful to have a note of it if we're asked for a particular expertise.
And can I quickly ask, I do have a long line of school children walking past me. I've left my little office area. So there's lots of little voices in the background. It's just amazing. I love listening to children talk. Can the parent, the family caregivers be of, say, children who may have Down syndrome, or they may have mental health challenges?
Yep. So anybody who falls in the category of having a learning disability, and they can, and if they have a mental health diagnosis as well, of course, because the reality is there's many people who do if they've got a learning disability or autism.
Yes.
So it just brings richer experience. Yes.
Awesome. I think we've got quite a few people, so we just need to really get on it now. It's Wednesday today, so I'll talk. You know, we'll talk afterwards about making this happen.
Great.
But yeah, guys, any other questions?
I just want to know, what do you mean with mental health difficulties? Do you mean, like, for example, apart from the challenging behaviors, like, what do you mean? Do you mean like depression and anxiety?
Depression, psychosis, self-harming, eating disorders, schizophrenia, personality disorders. I mean, sometimes children have ADHD diagnosed, psychosis diagnosed in earlier and earlier, depression, eating disorders from 11 years old, I've seen.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay, Anna and Mohammed, do you have any questions that you would?
No, I think I have quite a lot
sorry.
of information already, and I can see all those things Finola is saying. We already, all of 3 of us, including yourself, Neil, you got different of experience with your daughter, bit different than ours. And yes, we're covering almost everything except myself. I had, when I done the previous training, I think Anna was with me. We've been learned about the mental health problems about the other people. By ADHD, I'm quite experienced, even Anna got some and medication and all that. This is also a little bit of part of the mental health condition as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we have enough to write a letter. What to know, what to write. We know what information really she need now. If you don't need, I think I don't have any question for at the moment, Neil.
Awesome. Thank you, Mohammed. Anna, last
Thank
chance.
you.
No, no, thank you. I don't have any question. I just need to start again listening this recording.
Oh yeah, Finola, I recorded this, by the way. I
Yeah, I
mentioned
came
it
late,
before,
sorry.
but